Peace, God.
Peace, God. How you?
Yeah, good. So you wanted to go over the wisdom born degree as it applies to prison houses and you build on that.
Definitely. You know, the 29th degree, now listen, the 1 to 40, goes into why was Yacub so successful in all his undertakings, and it goes into the people who follow Yacub's laws. Like what he told them to do, they did it. If not, they paid for their, they paid their lives every law they broke. Yacub didn't build prison house for his people. One fell victim to the law, the penalty was death, and was enforced on anyone who failed the victim. All right, so pretty much that degree is going into the making a devil and his followers. There was no prison. It was like the mandate was, you do this, man, or you die, right? So in understanding that, right, we fast forward, we understand prisons were first created like here in the United States, like 1700s to like 1891, right? They were created actually by the devils, right? And by devil, let me say this too, because we're taught that, by law, that, we're not anti-right or pro-black, we're pro-righteousness, and anti-devilishment. So, but historically, we understand his propensity for, because, and again, in the culture degree, in the 1 to 14, it goes into how Musa taught them how to respect life, how to build home from some, but some forgotten knowledge, which Yacub taught them, which was devilishment, which is stealing, telling lies, and how to master the original man. One of the ways of mastering them was to do that. Actually, the orders of prisons that in the United States was created specifically for that. Like I said, 1891, prisons became a little bit more organized, but that was a little bit after slavery. And then that law was enacted, and it said that neither slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime in the United States of sovereignty, right? So although you was freed, right, if you committed a crime, then your rights were revoked, and then of course you was a prisoner. But at this time, man, that was prison labor. The demographics, it was at one point, it was Caucasian, actually, but then they seen the need of like, well, listen, man, look, although we can't just force them, so we create circumstances that would create crime, right? And then prison gangs and stuff like this was created. I mentioned why was Yacub so successful in all his undertakings, because again, Yacub was an Arabic terminology, but mathematically we understand Yacub to mean why Allah said you born, right? So and by that we mean, because it ain't got nothing to do with the Muslims or nothing. It's got nothing to do with a scientist who was a black man who created the devil, right? Moreover, and I have to include this in this discussion, right? The 1 to 36 goes into, right, how my uncle does not speak his own language. My uncle does not know he's my uncle, right? Uncle being the black people who were involuntarily forced over here and made slaves again by the European, right? However, the same degree I quoted, the culture degree, it goes into that we took everything from him except his language.
Every step of the way.
Yeah, we made him maybe walk right. The only thing we took was to give me everything that belongs to me, right? But we let you go with the ability to think and speak in your language. Yes, you went savage according to the degree. I would too. You ran me 2,200 miles with nothing but a loincloth, right? But when we fast forward this tape, he just did the opposite. Nah, I have no mercy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take how you think and how you speak in that language, right? And then I'm gonna continue to keep doing that, if I can. Its root going back again to one of the ways of mastering the original man is, again, debilitating him. How do I do that? Well, I put him in prison. I create crimes. You know what I mean? Or I create circumstances. In fact, in New York State prison, right, most of everybody in New York State prison is coming from 7 major boroughs. You know what I mean? You come from certain sections of these particular boroughs. The interesting dynamic in that is that like Brooklyn, Bronx, Lower East Side, and these are targeted black areas, and upstate New York as well too. But the political dynamic is, right, and they're fueling these prisons. But the Assembly District men in New York State prisons, New York State areas, right, we're creating, right, a whole, the people from the city are creating a whole economy for them. Roads and bridges and highways and stores and, colleges and whatever. In fact, I was a participant in that endeavor, you know what I mean? So, again, you see Yacub's, you see that in play. Why was Yacub so successful? Why is he still successful in all his undertakings? Again, the differences, you know what I mean? But I just want to stay with that. So, the 5%, here and abroad, we have taken the position, listen, man, look, juvenile and justice involved people, our nation members and others, we reach out, man, we can do all we can, to help them. In fact, one of the ways was NOCA. Well, let me go back. It was the guard, his honorable name is Patrick Graham, right? His righteous name is Powerful Rule the Nation. He was one of the first recognized, legitimate, because there was one before him, but he went left with it. I'm not even gonna go there. That's not even worthy to be mentioned. Powerful Rule the Nation was worthy to be mentioned because he had went as far as he could in his lawsuit to get the guards recognized, and then he passed his the architecture framework to the guard intelligence tariff law, who was successful in winning, and then subsequently, you had the guard at Starmel and Universal who added on to that because of the implementation, and from that sprung different entities like NOCA, that was Powerful Nation again, Born King, and Loyal Justice actually was a part of that cipher. And then we move on to Office of Culture Management, the entity of men here in New York State, New York City, right, the law school in Mecca, right? We've been involved in going into the prisons here, and we have been facilitating and assisting people abroad, right? Why is that important to bring up? Because unfortunately, we're not exempt neither from going. At one point, I was until I, did what my nation citizens and members were doing, and then let me help those who want to come out and remain out. But first and foremost, that would be, our nation members, our cultural commitment to them, because that needs to be recognized. But again, a whole economy, a whole system, under the umbrella of what Yacub created. You know what I mean? And why was Yacub so successful in all his undertakings? Another reason why, man, because again, lack of knowledge itself. You know what I mean? Or lack of knowledge, right? His people followed them regardless of what he told them to do. They did it. If not, they paid for their life every law they broke. I didn't build prison houses because we're making devil. But when devil was made, I would make prison houses because this is one of the ways I can master the original man. And how I do that is to disguise the crime as this is his fault, when actually I'm the cause. But people look at the effect, oh, that's the cause. You know what I mean? So, and not understanding the underlying, like a terminology you use a lot, the many layers. Right. You know what I mean? I know what's going on. I just see like the ice, the tip of the iceberg. I'm not looking under the water. So, and it's important that, we understand and applying mathematics, and having people understand that reality. I'm not saying that, again, there's going to be law and order. Unfortunately, you're going to have these particular entities, these particular infrastructures of prisons until, man, we can get corrective behavior in and of itself and people stop going in. So, that was, my, my build on that, and then I wanted to, later on to show and, the demonstration of how, the guards had went in, and spoke to, and that's like almost a first because, and in fact, it is a first. Well, prior to me getting on the Office of Culture Management, they actually had a meeting with New York State commissioners and staff, because they didn't even know that, okay, you have a headquarters, you have a school. You know what I mean? I didn't even know y'all was this well organized. Because they was just with them, you teach the white man the devil, and there was a lot of unfortunately misrepresentation also. There was a lot of truth being taught, but there was a lot of misrepresentation. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times the stigma held with them. These is a bunch of dudes that's down with some schisms and which wasn't the case. Again, I'm not. You got a lot of guards that's in these ciphers building, right? That's not being said either, But then later on, we went in about 2 years ago to speak to them in the Fishkill in the southern region outside New York City, and about 50 to 60 clergy, about 50 clergies. We spoke to different denominations, you know what I mean, and they were baffled just with Divine Prince's presentation. I mean, his introduction into what it is that we were doing. They were like, what? The oratory delivery. Mm-hmm. And then we all just added on and gave them the PowerPoint presentation. And it was like, wow. You know what I mean? Answering their questions, showing them, of course they come with the, what do you mean by God is not a spook, but a physical reality? You know what I mean? Bible Justice answered that question, mathematically, expertly so to them, and they understood it was a Muslim imam that asked that question. Actually, it was the black Christian segment that were asking, but what are you doing with housing? How can you help them when they come out? And we might be able to help and assist you and link you to X, Y, Z. Yeah. After that, they were breaking their necks to want to speak to us, man, because our sole position, man, is to help them, man. We're not here to, and we went slightly into this degree, about prison houses. You know what I mean? Don't we get it? I'm not telling you that, the present panel, people giving you this presentation was once incarcerated. You know what I mean? We're just here to show you the transformation and how that was, the root was mathematics. You know what I mean? And understanding lesson and how do they apply? And our key, let you know what it is, the rudiments of what we teach is the using of mathematics so they don't have to come back here again. You know what I mean? So, that was, my point into combating that degree. Why was he so successful? How will we become successful in all our overtakings? You know what I mean? In changing the polarity, of that degree. You know, so that was, you know, that was my bill, you know, with that.
So it's a continual endeavor that y'all dealing with going into the.
Yeah, you know, and then let me say this too. Like now we set things in motion. We did the presentation, but let me explain something to you, man. Like the bill I had in my class about obstacles and barriers, I was telling the young guard. So we crossed every T, dotted every I, and they still. Oh wait, you got to put a new application in. Because we have a new set of people and we have a new way, you know, just to frustrate you. So we're like, okay, babe, we all huddle. We'll do this application again, and the application is a little bit tedious because you got to put in, you know, your background check and your fingerprint, and you know, I need a reference letter, and you know, like character reference, and that's like from 7 to 8 men that's on this committee. Women, all to
help them.
Right. For prior to us coming in.
Right.
Now we've been accepted. This is what you have to do to get in now. We did that. You got to do it again because it's a new application. You know what I mean? And they know. You know. So you know. So it's to answer your question. It's an ongoing process. Yes. Now we have helped. Now we're slated to go to New York State. But we, you know, we're assisting guards writing from all over, you know, the globe, asking us, like Pennsylvania, Michigan, this one, Detroit, you know, California, you know what I mean? We're assisting, facilitating. We got guards in different places doing that, and we're giving them our proposals, along with, you know, give my brother Trueborn my large props too. You know, the newborn curriculum thing. You know, what I mean, there were points in that definitely, man, that's relevant. You know, when the person wants to come in, what it is they need to see, and you know, so we're objective, you know, and like information that's relative to people who want the knowledge. You know what I mean? Y'all want the knowledge, you know, I'm gonna get you let know. Here's what you need to know and understand, and here, you know, fine tune things. You know. Pennsylvania, ironically, might be a facility I may walk into before I come into New York State, because they're looking for supposedly a facilitator, you know. So I mean, I got no problem, man. We go over there maybe 1 or 2 times and see the guards, man. Go up in there, your peace. Listen, you know, get them together, huddle, and speak to the facility, and like, you know, what it is we teach, and you know, I mean, even though all that information was sent to them, you know what I mean? You know, like what, you know, and then build with the guards that's there. You know what I mean? As to what it is, you know, is expected. You know, so.
Okay. So is there any information that you want to give to so that anybody want to know more about it, they could contact you?
Yeah. Well, my honorable name, you know, my honorable name is, because that would be on my card. You got Office of Cultural Management card, but it'd be Kenneth J, 230 yahoo.com. You know, you definitely come to the law school, you know, definitely, because there's a lot of activity going on there. You know, during the time I do classes, or, you know, when you're free, it's coming in. You know, Law U Justice, IB Law Mathematics, Divine Prince, Shah, Professor, Merciful, the God Y Supreme, Jakisha, I know I'm leaving somebody out. Lord Jamel, definitely, I'm sorry, Lord Jamel. These are guards who with different titles and capacities, program coordinators, and, you know, as such. So yeah, come to the school, you know, and we got a little hoopla or two, you know, from guards. You know, we're not a religion. Yes, we're not. Absolutely, we're not. You know what I mean? Allah said, man, we don't teach religion. Ironically, the case that was won was under Religious Land and Institution Persons Act, right?
So the language gets a little...
Right. Now, this is beautiful. So what happens is, this is a law, right, that actually was assigned to the Indians with the Religious Land Institution Persons Act. You know what I mean? And what this was a threshold to determine, are you an entity to be, not religion, like, because when you went in, were you worthy for your case to be heard in court under this here? Mm-hmm. Then when they got in, again, language, I'm glad you said that, man, because although that's key here. And that's what really sometimes becomes argumentative among some of the guys. We're not a religion. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. During then, currently, right, we definitely told them, listen, we're not a religion. We're a culture. And that's where we came with the language, we're God-centered culture. And by God, unequivocally, we're talking about the black man, how he lives, his education, what he eats, his clothes, and all things that's associated with the culture. We had spoke to, in this meeting 2 years ago, we had spoke to them, even though we got just a little bit ahead of ourselves. Well, to set the motion in play, because although you're not a religion, God. Again, language, because now we need you to change how that's worded in your directives. Okay, well, this the nation of God and earth religion. No, we're not a religion. You need to say culture. Right, religion needs to be, eradicated from there. So now when people see the directives, they understand the mandate, and so they understand the language. So that's being argued also, and I understand that. And when I said it became a little argumentative was due to some guys like, why you going back, why you going in there? Because some people are this belief that, if you go to prison, you're not the God. I would agree that there's a lot about, speaking for myself, a lot about me I needed to learn. I'm famous. Oh, I got mad Parliament. Recent Parliament, I just talked about that. My famous one is the knowledge God, the knowledge build to destroy, and the knowledge born degree, and the 1 to 40. That's why I say 120 is a map. Once you know the meaning, you know the duty. And if you know the duty and don't want to do it, then your punishment's real severe, because you knew better. We're not talking about, the wicked. They go down their own iniquity, but you supposed to have known better. You know what I mean? So, but once you make the but again, we're not here to shoot the wounded. You know what I mean? So like, okay, bet, and then God too, depending on why you go to prison. Right. See, that's another thing too. Like, we don't condone rape. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? Listen, that's grounds for exile. You know what I mean, or whatever. But we understand while you're in there, get your life together. You deserve a chance. Everybody else did. We understand when the law was taken was because he committed a crime. They took him up the street because they didn't want him teaching. So we created circumstances. Again, that's what I'm saying about they seen the truth being made manifest. So while he's on the corner building, or he's disturbing the welfare of the miners or disturbing the peace, you know what I mean? And then he took him and did whatever they did. So again, we talking about mathematically correcting behavior.
If Mega did this.